All right, so in this episode, we're gonna fix that mistake. We're gonna try and paint it more closer to the movie truck that was used in Smokey and the Bandit. That's a little too much chestnut color for me. So I ended up getting a different paint. This time it's still a single stage, it's not a base clear, but it's more of a black paint with a slight tint of brown to it and a little bit of metallic. It's just gonna be beautiful. So I also noticed whenever you put on something shiny, it will expose your shoddy workmanship. And so we got some glazing putty. We're gonna go in there. I'm just gonna touch up a few of the spots, and we're gonna make that as good as we can get it. Again, you're not gonna see it, but it's good practice for the other panels that'll eventually work on. So we'll get that fixed up, and I'm gonna start sanding down the sleeper and fix that up, and we're gonna paint that the same color. We'll paint both those at exactly the same time. I got a quart and some reducer and some activator, so hopefully that gets us enough paint to do both those panels. And check that out. You know what that is? That is a 40-foot tube heater that just arrived yesterday. It goes in there. So that's gonna keep us nice and toasty warm all winter long. But I still need to run a gas line, and we gotta hook it all up, and there's a bunch of other stuff to do, but that's coming, so that's cool. Can't wait. Still need some lights. Okay, and then we're also gonna try and get this, where I left off in the last episode, we're gonna try and get this DayCab rubber floor mat into the truck as well. So lots of work that needs doing, and as I always say, let's talk more work.
Just relax, son. It ain't none as bad as it looks. Get up in there, you son of a bitch. Get in there, you silly son of a bitch.
Yeah, so it probably doesn't look like it with the time lapse, and I didn't film it all, but that was actually 3 hours of work just to knock down all the high spots on this one face and just that little bit of the roof cap. But at least the roughness is gone, and I marked out all the spots that need to be filled. So yeah, onto the we'll put some Bondo in there, and then onto the next grid up. We'll keep making this smooth and making her decent. Close. I just finished up a round of 220, and I probably got, I don't know, right now on this one panel and just the front of the roof, I probably got 6 hours. I'm on my 6th battery on this recharge. But anyway, yeah, I just finished up the 220, and I just put on a fresh coat of glaze on some of the areas. Again, I'm trying to get this as good as I can. You're never going to see it once it's on the truck, but it's great practice for me, because I found the first panel I've ever done was the one on the back of the cab, and I didn't really like, truth be told, I didn't really like the way that turned out. So I'm trying a little harder on this one. I don't like where the sandblasting and the original 2 or 3 layers of paint meet. So now I'm going to try and just glaze an edge and then feather that in. And this is good practice for me as I move on to actually doing the parts you will see on the outside of the truck. So I'm trying to get this as good as I can. Once this dries, I'll tune this down and then probably give it a once over, and then we'll wipe it down and we'll put on the etching primer, a first layer of etching primer. And again, it's rattle cans. I still have a lot left, but I promise we're gonna get to real spray guns by the end of this episode. I bought the cheap, well, we call it Princess Auto. It's kind of like Harbor Freight in the States. I bought cheap $60 gun, and we'll just lay that down, and it'll probably be just a disposable throwaway. I'll try and clean it, but they never quite clean up, and they never quite work the same after you use them once. But that's what I'm going to use to actually put the real paint down on the front of the bunk and the back of the cab. I still got some touch-up to do on the cab to get it to where I want it to be. And it's rainy right now anyway, so we got to wait for a sunny day to do them both. But once the primer dries, I'll put on the high build primer as well, and then we'll probably sand that all back down, and then we'll be ready to throw that paint on there. So I know this isn't very exciting, but I kind of wanted to articulate how much time goes into this. I mean, you watch the shows like Rust Brothers or Gas Monkey, and it's like da-da-da-da-da, it's a quick time lapse, and boom, they've instantly got a fancy painted car, and you can't really appreciate how many hours go into that till you actually do it yourself. So that's why it costs so much to get stuff painted in body shops. It's not the paint's pretty cheap, relatively speaking. It's the time, it's the hours that go in there, that you're paying for someone's time to do all this prep work. And the more prep work you do, I'm discovering really quick, the more prep work you do, the better the job turns out. So while I'm letting the Bondo or glaze or whatever you want to call it dry up, I figured I'd come out here and start working on my template for the back of for the floor mat. And I find cutting out cardboard and taping it all together is a pretty tried and true method for getting something cut out correctly. Yeah, that turned out really nice. So that was just a rattle can job. That's a couple cans of etching primer, the gray, and then I put a light coat of high build. And it actually turned out really nice. It's very smooth. A couple little areas that still need to be touched up. They're a little rough. So I'll get the 320 out. But I think that's just about ready for some paint. Okay, so we'll touch that up, and then I gotta start working on the cab. And hopefully we can get some paint on this truck today. Now, it's not windy yet, but it's supposed to be really windy this afternoon, so hopefully I can get the paint on there before the wind blows it all into my neighbor's yard. We'll see. There, so after about 2 hours of sanding and 20 discs later, you get this. So I just threw a quick layer of high build primer on there. The sun's shining in the camera, so you can't really see it, but yeah, that should, we'll let that tack up and hit it one more time with 320 and wipe it down, and we'll just about be ready to paint. Got to get my spray gun and compressor all ready, but the wind's starting to pick up. Man, I can't wait till I get a shop someday and can paint inside. so here we go. I think I'm all done prepping the cab and the sleeper, so let's give painting a try. Now keep in mind, I've never painted a vehicle before. The only thing I've ever done is spray bombs, and then of course I used the gun to do the frames of my Pete and Kenworth, so please be gentle on the comments. Okay, so here's my fancy cheap Chinese gun, but it did come with a regulator, so that's kind of cool. So I'm going to try and spray at just under 30. So we'll adjust that right down, something like that. Okay, so watched a lot of videos on YouTube to try and pick up what I could on this. So one guy was saying they seem to do some good work, and he had a lot of views. I forget his name, but or his channel. But he said make sure the air is all the way open, so that's good. And then he said open the fan all the way, and then just give it maybe a quarter turn to tighten the ends up. And then to get wide open, we're just going to pull the trigger all the way, back this out, and then screw it in till it just makes contact, right about there. So that's wide open. And we'll maybe adjust it, one end from wide open. Okay, so the gun is ready. Now to mix up some paint. Okay, so Phil at the paint store was saying that we want to do, again, this isn't base clear, this is just a single stage. So we want to do four parts paint, 1 part activator, and 2 parts reducer. So I always wondered what they were pouring and mixing. I always thought they were mixing colors when you watch it on those TV restoration shows. Okay, do this without spilling it. Whoop, like that. Okay, so there is paint. Okay, now we need 1 part activator. I'll do that in this one. Activator. We want to go to the 1 activator. Something like that. Put that in. And then we want 2 parts reducer. So we'll see how this works. At least all you keyboard cowboys out there can stop criticizing me for using spray bombs all the time. Okay, and 2 parts, oh that's a lovely color, and 2 parts reducer. Something like that. Close enough for this outfit. Okay, in you go. And we'll stir up this lovely concoction. I don't know if you can see it, but it's definitely a dark black with just a hint of brown and some metallic in it. And of course, I would pick the hardest color to spray. That's my first try. Black shows everything, but as I mentioned many times in the past, we're never going to see this anyway, and we're going to paint over the corners when we paint the whole truck. But good practice, and it'll give us an opportunity to see if this is the color we want to go with for this truck. Smells delicious. Okay, put on the mask and we'll do a little test spray, see how our pattern looks. Alrighty. Oh, that's looking good. Oh yeah. All right, let's get painting. There, that's a decent first coat. Not perfect by any means, but not too bad. Gonna move over to the sleeper now. Okay, let's go take a look at the damage. Hard to see in the camera with the sun. Yeah, it's not too bad. I find the hardest part is to try and keep the same distance from the panel and then keep your line and not waver.
Look at that.
Steady as a rock.
Yeah, but I shoot with this hand.
And then don't stop either, because then you get too much paint. That's not too bad, and I'm digging the color. Much closer to the movie truck this time, I think. Okay, let's mix up another batch of paint and give her again. That's all she wrote. That was fun. Hyundai Night Shadow Brown. I have to say that I am very happy with that color. I think that's going to be just perfect for the movie truck because it's black. It looks black most of the time, but if you get it in the right light or you get some light shining on it, you can kind of see a bit of metallic flake and a hint of brown. So I think this is going to be just perfect, and it's going to go so nice with the gold trim. So you can kind of see it in there. There's a bit of almost looks like gold flake. It might be brown flake, but I think that's going to look beautiful when I finally get it done. Now again, that was my first panel, first time I've ever painted anything fancy. And I mean, there's orange peel for days. What are you going to do?
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
But I have to say that I really, really enjoyed that. I welcome any comments or suggestions from people that know way more than I do on what I did wrong. Please feel free to share so I can learn and do it better next time. But it shows the more prep that you put in, because some stuff is still shining through, the better the results. So when I finally go to paint the truck, you know, my dad always said, why don't you paint your own trucks? And I always went, nah, no, I don't know what I'm doing. I'll have to pay someone else to do it. But I think after I got a taste of this, the painting, and I mean, I'm beyond a rookie, but I think I can get there with some practice and with some time. And again, the more effort you put into prep, I think that helps to compensate for being kind of a crappy painter. But had a lot of fun doing that, and it turned out not too bad. Now the trick outside, there was a bit of wind, so when I was spraying, my spray would go sideways, so you kind of had it was a little trickier to lay it in there. So it was a lot easier to paint inside the garage there. So it'll be such a treat when we finally go to paint inside the shop. And then again, the joys of painting outside, you get bugs coming in for a closer look, and they get so close to become a permanent part of the paint. But overall, I think it turned out not too shabby. And again, now that we know the color is going to work, that's what we'll go with for the rest of the truck. So you can kind of see it in the sun there. That metallic flake kind of shines through, and other than that, it looks black. So I am really, really happy with that. So that'll be enough painting for now. Next week we'll have to get the bunk put back on the truck and again seal it up when we can start putting the interior in. But before we can do that, we better finish up with our floor mat. So I kind of got rolling on making the cardboard for around the pedals, but two problems. The hole's not gonna, if I actually make this tight and follow that contour of the raised profile there of the pedal, the treadle mount, then you'll never get it over the pedals. And so that's just not going to work. And if I leave a big hole, it's going to look like hell. So I think what needs to be done is I'll push these pins out, and then we'll take the two pedals off, and that way we can just cut an exact hole around this raised part, and it'll look a lot better. Oh, that was easy. Yeah, good move, Mark, taking that off of there. Now, does this one come out of here? No. Oh, no, that appears to be plastic. It's a plastic hole. I think it is. Huh. That's an integral piece. And these bolts are all rusted. They're going to be just a bear to get out of there. Oh well. I guess I got to take those 4 bolts off. That was less fun getting that out of there. The bolts are all rusted, and I had to end up cutting them out of there. Oop, I nicked the plastic. Look at that, it's all plastic. So maybe what we'll do, maybe I will put that pedal that Peg gave me, Peg and Dallas gave me, because something about plastic in a 1979 truck, that just seems wrong. I guess they were trying to save weight. Okay, well, now that that's out, we should be able to finish our cardboard cutout. And we'll take this all out of here, and we'll lay this on the new floor mat and cut it to fit. I need a nice fluid, smooth floor surface to cut out the floor mat. So I thought, why don't we do our first project? The new twin stick garage. Beautiful. It's got that thick underlay, just like the carpet floor. Oh. Let's see how this thing fits. Yeah, that's pretty decent, I have to say. I like that a lot. It fits in there real nice. Now, with the edges, what I'm thinking I might do is similar to the Pete. I'll get those stainless steel strips and then just screw it in, and that'll hold the mat down and be a nice transition when you open the door. And then I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do a single strip across in front of the shifter. I think once I put the shifter boot on there, and you get this the gas pedal back on, it should hold it down, and the seats will be bolted in. So I don't think it's going anywhere, especially with the two strips on the side. So I might put a few screws, black screws with some washers up at the top there, just so it doesn't peel back. But that's looking really sharp. Okay, starting to get a little late in the day here, and there's only one thing left to do. Still got a long way to go, but we'll get there.
Fill her up, Hoss. Come on, Frederick. My boy. Let's go get some of the Morris greasy spoon. Oh, I'm dying, Fred. Where's him?